Good morning, it's Christopher Taylor up on the hill with Sovereign Harmony Astrology. Hope you're doing well. It is Sunday morning, June 21st. Happy solstice. Just had a solstice overnight, so guess what? Daylight hours are on the downtick. It is what it is, but this is a significant time of year. Obviously, you go back like Stonehenge and other cultures. Very significant point in the yearly calendar, the solstice. It kind of marks the beginning of the second half of the year astrologically, essentially. Anyway, in addition to the solstice, so that's the sun entering Cancer. Okay, so it's no longer Gemini season. We got sun in Cancer. The sun immediately makes a sextile to Chiron, freshly in Taurus. So Chiron entered Taurus on Friday. It's been in Aries since 2018. It'll be in Taurus for about 3 months. Then September to April, it'll be back in Aries for the grand finale. So what we've been dealing with the last 8 years with Chiron and Aries, again, to reiterate, it's all about self-respect, courage, self-capability, identity in general. So any wounds associated with that we've been dealing with in the last 8 years. So we've been put in positions that test that, essentially. Now we're getting a breather from it for 3 months. Okay, and we're starting to lean into what will be the themes for Chiron and Taurus. But in my opinion, it's not until Chiron enters Taurus in April that we really start diving into those wounds associated with self-worth, safety, etc. But just think of these next 3 months as a breather from the previous wounding experience. And we'll have that grand finale September through April when Chiron is in Aries for the final time. Okay, but the sun is making a sextile to that Chiron and Taurus right now as we speak. So this is basically Chiron's very first aspect after entering Taurus to any planet, and it's the sun, and it's with the solstice. So really signifies kind of like this divider of like the first half of the year and the second half of the year, roughly. Okay, and in addition to that, the sun is also forming a trine to Pisces, to the North Node in Pisces. And so that North Node is about to change signs here at the end of July. Okay, so but what this is suggesting as well is that there's this kind of effortless, gradual drift toward the future, and a future that we have to put our trust in. We can't see everything all the time. We can't control and plan everything all the time. So this is just leaning into that trust. Okay, so Chiron's in a fresh sign. Solstice happens. There's some clicking happening here, some switching into, again, like another phase of this year of 2026, this year of the fire horse, this 1 year, etc. Okay, then we get later in the week, and we're going to have a couple of aspects happening on Thursday the 25th, and they're both going to involve the two outer planets in Aries right now, Saturn and Neptune. If you recall, Saturn joined Neptune in Aries, 0 degrees Aries, back in late February. That is a once in like 35, 37 year conjunction that starts a whole cycle in and of itself. And in this case, it's the anchor point for this new paradigm with the outer planets in their new signs this year. Okay, and so both of those planets are getting aspected by personal planets this week. So we got Venus forming a trine, so Venus in Leo forming a trine to Saturn in Aries, and we also have that Sun freshly in Cancer forming a square to Neptune in Aries. Okay, so what this is really speaking, if we look at it all as kind of like one energy, is it's this week we have this kind of opportunity for an effortless flow of our expression in a more solid form that represents our true selves. Okay, so we're respecting our true selves in our expression. However, this new expression may not have a home, or may not feel like it has a home yet. It can be expressed out of us, but where does it land? That's that Sun in Cancer part, squaring Neptune in Aries. Where do we land? We have an effortless ability to kind of know what we feel inside and how to express it, but then it might feel like it's in foreign lands, like there's no place to use it, no place to put it. Okay, but that doesn't mean we can't express it, right? Doesn't mean we can't acknowledge the fact that we are capable of expressing it. Now that we got Chiron out of Aries, we get a respite from that whole, wounds of capability, and we just kind of dive into our expression a little bit, even if we can't land it anywhere yet. Okay, then we get to the end of the week. This is where we're going to have Mars at 29 degrees Taurus in a sextile to Jupiter at 29 degrees Cancer. So Jupiter has been in Cancer for the last year, and it's all about emotional growth. Okay, and so Jupiter's about to exit Cancer here actually on Monday, next Monday, not tomorrow, but Monday the 29th. And So it'll enter Leo on the same day that Mercury turns retrograde and we have a full moon in Capricorn. So that'll be next week's report. But we are leading up to that right now. But anyway, so Mars at the 29th degree of Taurus, Jupiter at 29 degrees of Cancer. They're both finishing up their signs. It's the final degree. And so, all that emotional growth we've had over the past year, this is an opportunity to reflect that in our actions. So Mars in Taurus is not flamboyant action. It's steady, it's focused, it's controlled, it's intentional, okay? That's really the energy with Mars and Taurus. And so we have this opportunity at the end of the week to take intentional actions that reflect the emotional growth we've been through for the past year, all right? So however that comes out, and that comes on the heels, again, of that effortless expression that doesn't have a home. Well, maybe these actions that are aligned with our emotional growth can direct that somewhere, because we're in a new zone now, right? Where we've gone through a period of personal growth. Now we have to learn how to apply ourselves in a different way. And so that's that Mars and Taurus, like carefully applying action that reflects that emotional growth, and maybe even finding a place for that expression to land, because this is Jupiter at 29 degrees Cancer, after all, the sign of the home, etc. So maybe the sun can't help out, Neptune. The sun makes it a little confusing with that square to Neptune and Aries, but maybe this last bit of Jupiter in Cancer gives us an aha moment of, wow, I would have expressed this earlier in my life if I knew I could have landed it here. And that new here exists because of this Jupiter in Cancer journey the last year. Okay, and then, so like I said, after that, Jupiter is going to enter Leo on Monday. Mercury is going to turn retrograde on Monday, and it's going to, so the same, within hours of Jupiter saying, hey, I'm out of here, Cancer, take care. Mercury says, hey, I'm going to go retrace your steps, Jupiter, from where you retrograded back from November to March. So from November to March, Jupiter made a retrograde from like 25 degrees Cancer back to 15 degrees Cancer, and now this Mercury retrograde is going to be 26 degrees Cancer to 16 degrees, 1 degree off, but pretty much the same zone. So any aspects that Jupiter made over that period of time with that retrograde, you're going to have some aspects from Mercury, this Mercury retrograde, coming up here in the next several weeks. Okay, and we have a full moon that day on Monday. Like I said, that'll be part of next week's report, but just understand that we're turning a corner here. Okay, so we've gone through some emotional growth. We're feeling it easier to express who we truly are, and there's opportunities this week to then take action in ways that reflect that growth and that can land that expression in a healthier manner based on where we are now and not based on our habits, because that's what Jupiter's helped us get through and out of, is some emotional habits through that emotional growth. Okay, so we're gonna leave it at that. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Please like, share, subscribe, comment below if you want. If you have any comments that you think would be beneficial for others. If you're interested in a personal reading, I do those as well. We can see where all this is fitting in your chart. And do tune in next week. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe now so you'll see next week's. There's going to be a more potent report with that full moon in Capricorn, Jupiter entering Leo, and Mercury turning retrograde all within hours of each other. Other than that, take care, enjoy your Sunday, enjoy your week, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.